What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So before I get started with this interview, my head's kind of turning weird. I got a neck tat done, so I know people are going to say shit in the comments, so I'm just going to put it out there first. So, on this channel, man, I like to do interviews. I like to bring people on to get different perspectives. But today's guest was actually in prison in Canada, and I don't know anything about prison in Canada, so we're going to find out what that's all about today. Man, if people that are watching may not know who you are, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
First of all, thanks for having me on, brother. I appreciate it. My name's Matt Clark. My channel is Canadian Prison Stories with the new Matt Clark. I've been doing this YouTube for a little bit now, so if you guys check me out, I'd appreciate that. It's all about positivity, it's all about showing growth, not perfection, progress over perfection, and just trying to use my past to kind of guide people in the right way. But me, I'm 38 years old. I grew up in a good home. Both my parents are still together to this day. I have 3 brothers, 1 sister, and would say that I grew up in a middle-class life, regular suburban life. But definitely a wrench got thrown in the spokes when I was, I think I was 12 years old. I was sexually abused. I was lured by somebody, and I was able to get away from the situation before any major damage was done. But still, it's traumatic to have to run away from an adult who's trying to hold you hostage. And a year later, my brother was charged for 2 counts of first-degree murder. I know that obviously the victim's family would have felt it worse, but it definitely ripped through my family. And, I come from a family that's not really supportive of the convict. They're a little bit against that, and I would say that definitely one half of my family cut us off. That was the end of it. They didn't want their kids to know what my brother had done, so they felt the best thing to do was to just cut us off. So, we were kind of going at it alone, and didn't feel like there was a whole lot of support. And obviously, my mom and dad going through the trial, and in Canada, it takes forever. Court process takes forever. If you're on a murder case, 3-4 years before you're ever going to even see a trial. And my brother's trial was 3 months. My mom every day. So you can imagine for a young guy that's impressionable, I was a hyperactive troublemaker at 12, 13, 14 years old. I needed guidance, and I feel like a lot of the attention was taken away from me because of that situation. And I felt a way about it. I had a hard time with it, and it kind of led me to the streets. And I would say literally from 15 to 25 years old, I had no relationship with my family. I guess I was there if they were the only support system I had at the time, I would be there. But, I love my family, but at the same time, I couldn't stand my family. I felt like they didn't understand me. And I always led like a very nomadic lifestyle. I didn't really hunker down anywhere for a long time. I was kind of always on the move. And, 15 years old, I started breaking into cars, just typical stuff, car hopping, you make $100 in a night, little petty stuff. And eventually that led to break and enters, residential break and enters. I think down there they call it burglary, but up here it's just break and enter. And it's a level 2 offense. It's considered non-violent, but they sentence as if it's violent because the possibility for violence is there. So in Canada, the max sentence for a break and enter is life. It can happen. It's never going to happen, but it could happen. And, I just got caught up. And then 17 years old, I started getting into the rave drugs, the party drugs, ecstasy, a little bit of jib, some ketamine. And it just kind of snowballed. And how addiction works, you kind of go through the stages. You start with the little less dangerous stuff. And then before long, I was a heroin junkie. And I was addicted to heroin for 10 solid years. I was trapped. I was in a hamster wheel. I didn't think that I deserved better. I thought that my life was what it was, and this was my fate, that I was going to spend the rest of my life in and out of prison. And it just was what it was. And I was okay with that for a long time. And I just felt like when you're down like that, when you're deep in the pits of addiction and deep in the criminal lifestyle, you're risking your life every day. You know, your high-speed chases, you know, going into somebody's house is a dangerous thing to do. You know, like, you know, people will hurt you. You know, even a guy who's not a criminal, if say he feels the need that to protect his family, he's going to hurt you. Whether, you know, in Canada, there's laws that prevent that. You're not allowed to attack an intruder in this country, but you're still going to attack an intruder in your house. So it's dangerous. And I just feel like because of drugs, I was able to overlook the snakiness of the crime, because I personally think breaking into somebody's house is a pretty shitty thing to do, you know, and
but that kind of just tells you right there by you saying that what addiction does to somebody, because, you know, you clean and sober, if someone broke in your house right now, you would be like, man, fuck that dude. And if you caught him, you'd probably beat his ass. But then that's where I think society fails to see what drugs are, because you on drugs are the same person breaking into the houses and putting yourself. So that just shows you the power of what an addiction will do to somebody, because morally you're a good person, but with drugs, like at that point, everything is just business. Like there's no feelings in it. You know what I mean? So I can relate to what you were saying about that, but go ahead.
And I totally agree. And, you know, I almost went down a much more dangerous path. You know, when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was hanging around with a pretty serious group of guys. And I almost got caught up in something that I wasn't involved in. And it almost cost me a long time. Thankfully, my friends were solid, and that didn't happen. But there was a lot of people that were trying to get me arrested for something that I didn't do. And
I've been there too.
I was able to get through that. And honestly, it caused a lot of tension in my relationship with those friends, because I went a different direction. You know, I'm not into the violent stuff. And I feel like it was the best choice I made, because every single person that I was rolling with at that time has been charged with manslaughter or murder since. And one is doing double life locked up. It's crazy how fast it can change. And these aren't guys that you would have expected to be in that lifestyle, but savage.
Yeah. You know? They were using drugs. Is that what got them to do this stuff?
Not even.
Money.
Money. Those guys are real gangster. And if you just saw their background, you would say, no way. But true gangster, you know, yeah. But locked up forever. You know,
well, money's another addiction. Like everybody's got an addiction. You know what I'm saying? Theirs just happened to be money, which is probably a better addiction, but it all ends up the same when you put greed on top of any addiction. You know, jail, institutions, and death. That's what they say. It's usually right. So how old were you when you first went to prison?
I got arrested the first time when I was 15 years old. When I was 16 years old was the first time I'd say I went to real jail. And it was called TIAC, the Toronto Youth Assessment Center. 16, 17, some 18-year-olds that are overlapping because they're charged pre-18. The most savage place. I've done time still to this day. In the heart of Toronto, downtown Toronto, all gangs, and just 16, 17, 18-year-olds have no heart. You know, there is no empathy at that age, because you haven't developed yet. You don't even really understand what it is at that age. And that turned me into a con. That place made me okay with doing time, because I learned how to fight in that place. I learned that, you know, you can't allow this to happen. You can't allow this to happen. And it made me okay with it. And then I got cool with a lot of guys from downtown, and just over the years, just meeting all these different guys, because provincial. So in Canada, we have provincial and federal time. So we have provinces here, not states. And our provincial time is anything less than 2 years. So 2 years less a day, that is provincial. The detention center time, pre-trial, that's provincial time. If you are sentenced to anything over 2 years or 2 years, that is a federal sentence. You go to a federal penitentiary. So
it's kind of like Florida. Like in Florida, so provinces is the same thing as states, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So we get a year, and anything more than a year and a day, we go to state prison. But you're saying in Canada, when you do anything over 2 years, you don't go to state prison, you go to federal prison.
We don't have state prison. We just have federal.
Okay.
And that's just anything over 2 years is federal. So they don't separate our charges federal province. If you're charged in Canada with any crime at all, you're with the murderers, anything. There's no separation.
So when you went to the youth program, like when you were 15, 16, did you have to join a gang, or did you ride solo the whole way through that?
See, I personally didn't join a gang. And I'll tell you, when I was in the youth place, Tyack, there was probably 25 white guys in the whole population of the jail that weren't in custody. Because it was so savage towards white guys. And you had to earn your keep. And I just feel like that place would break 95% of people. And I tell you, if I went back and looked at everybody I did time with in Tyack, most of them are dead. A place like that builds animals.
Was it the same way for you when you went to the federal prison system in Canada? Like, are the white people minorities, and you're kind of having to rock out to prove yourself?
No. Now, so if you're in provincial adult, which is anything less than 2 years, or dead time, which is bucket time, you're gonna have to rock out if you're in Toronto. If you're in the major cities, Winnipeg, which is just a lot of native guys, Toronto's got a lot of black guys, a lot of street gangs, Vancouver, a lot of street gangs. If you're in the big cities, you're definitely going to have to earn your keep. And in the buckets out in the country, you're still going to have to earn your keep. It's just going to be for different reasons. Now, if you're in the city, it's savage. It's all the time savage. It's just not big populations. The biggest prison we have in our country is like 3,000 people, and that's a dead time place. That's a bucket. But in our whole province, I'm in the province of Ontario, we have 7 penitentiaries and a bunch of buckets, but there's probably only 15,000 guys locked up in the whole province.
Damn.
So jails are small. Now, when you come through the penitentiary, you go to what's called reception, Joyceville reception. It used to be in Max at Millhaven, but they now separate the medium and the max guys when you go to the pen. So you'll go into Joyceville reception. You'll stay there anywhere from like 3 months to a year, depending on if you're going to do your programs there. Like if you're a 2-year sentence and they want to get you out on parole because you're no violence, you'll just do your program there. But what they'll do there is they'll classify you and they'll send you to a mother institution. So our maximum security is called Collins Bay and Millhaven. Millhaven is like half protective custody and half max reception. And there's a couple population ranges because in this province, there's no protective custody. And anything except max, it's all open up. There's no PC. It is
That's good. That's good.
integrated population. So, if you're in Collins Bay max or medium, it's going to be a rugged place. You're going to see a lot of stabbings. You're going to see a lot of violence because that's prison. They call it Disney World. During the 90s, Collins Bay was gladiator school. A lot of people died in that place, but they kind of like renovated it, revamped it, opened some lower security wings, built a new maximum security wing. So it's not quite as violent as it was in the 90s, but that's still the most dangerous penitentiary in this province. Then you have Warkworth Penitentiary, Fembrook Penitentiary. The last bit I did was in Fembrook. The 2 prior pen bits I did were in Joyceville. I did 7 years in Joyceville when it wasn't reception. It was a crazy place.
So let me ask you this. How many prisons are there in Canada in general?
like federal penitentiaries,
Yeah.
there's probably less than 25, 30 around there, if you're not including camps.
Okay. So in Florida alone, there's like over 155 prisons.
That's crazy.
Bro, like, I don't know what Canada's doing different, but it seems like, from what you're telling me, like they make the laws out there so treacherous that like it prevents people from making crime because no?
I don't even think it's that. Honestly, Canada, for some charges, they're going to fry you. If you get like the highest sentence you can get in our country is life 25. You can't get more than that. Eligibility for parole after 25 years, unless you get dangerous offender. But,
all right, let me ask you this. If me and you were chilling in Canada, we're riding around selling dope, and someone owes us money. We see him on the side of the road. We beat dude's ass. We take his shit. And then as we're leaving, we get pulled over. So now we got, you know, a battery, a robbery, and possession of whatever we had on us. What kind of time would I be looking at?
Depending on how bad the violence is and your record, I would say if you hurt those guys,
yeah,
3 to 5.
All right, so it's about the same then. I mean, in Florida, they could, you know, I don't know. They can do a lot of different things. That wasn't really a good analogy, but
for drugs, like say there's no mandatory minimum for drugs, there's no mandatory minimum for guns. So if you have a handgun charge, you could get 2 years, 3 years. If you have a trafficking charge, you may only get a year. You may only get 6 months. It depends on your history, on your background. Now, me personally, my whole record is break and enters, which are, I don't know, you call them burglaries, I guess.
Yeah, B&Es.
Residential break and enter. So for me, if you were to get arrested for a residential break and enter with no criminal record, the first time you get arrested, you'll probably get a month in jail, maybe 2 months in jail.
That's not bad.
If you were to get another one, you're going to get a year minimum. If you get another one now, you're federal. Now, because of with my record, I have 60 plus convictions. So not all separate, but total charges I've been convicted of is like,
right.
Because, you know, I get charged with 30 charges at once. And
go big or go home, bro.
My last sentence was for 2 break and enters. I got 44 months for each of them, concurrent to each other. The sentence before that, for one of them, I got 3 years, 2 months. And then my first pen sentence was 5 years, 9 months, 1 day, and that was for 2 of them.
I got you. So it's kind of the same, but it's kind of different. I guess it seems like drug charges there, they go a little more lenient than they would on, say, like a burglary in Florida. But so for the people watching, man, most people watching me are from the States, and, you know, they know from watching my channel and other channels what it's like going to prison in Florida or in the United States. So explain to the people watching, like, you could say your experience, or if I were to go to Canada and get arrested, what would I go through and what would you go through? Like, what did you go through when you walked into prison in Canada? How did all that go down?
I would say, honestly, you're going to have a little bit of a rougher time when you go through the provincial system. So when you first go through the bucket system before you get sentenced, you're probably going to go through some stuff. You know, you might have to defend yourself. You might have to fight for your food a little bit. A lot of BS. You'll see guys getting punked off, slapped around. Be hard to get a phone call if you're not prepared to stand up for yourself, especially if you're in the city. There's not a whole lot of racial stuff going on in this province alone. I can't really speak for the rest of the country, but it's more about blocks. You know, guys are separated based on where they live. Now, when you go through the federal system, it's not that violent. You know, when you go through Joyceville, it's a little bit free for all. It's not really like provincial, and it's not really like federal. It's like blended of the two. And in federal, in our country, you have a lot more rights. Like, you get to wear your own clothes. You have a TV in your cell. You have movie channels and stuff like that. Like the last place I was at, because because they shut down a couple pens in our province, they opened up this prison called Fembrook, which used to be like a low security place. And unless you had no issues, you wouldn't go there. Because they shut down a bunch of prisons, they need the bed space. That jail is kind of upped in security, even though you still get the rights there. That place, man, you get $38 a week. You go to a grocery store, you get a guy, you cook your own food, man.
That's crazy.
Fresh food, weight pit, gym, baseball diamonds, sports leagues, not that much violence. You see somebody's face get cut open every once in a while, or somebody gets smashed in the head with a bocce ball, but there's a lot of rights there, you know, so guys don't really want to mess it up. Like there's bocce ball courts and stuff like that. Now, if you go to the upper security penitentiaries, the only thing is follow the code. Now, Canada is a very convict-based system.
Which is good.
Yeah, there's no sex hounds, no sex offenders in population. It ain't happening. If you're in the upper security jails, either high, medium, or maximum security, and you're a sex offender, they're coming for you. If they know you, if that charge is on your record, they are coming for you. If you snitch, talk to the feds, anything like that, they're coming for you.
So you guys don't have like gunners and booty bandits and all that shit?
So here gunning is called popping off. If you're in the provincial system, especially in Toronto and stuff, guys do it. You know, they do it. To me, it's, would you walk into a Blockbuster Video and pull out your shit in front of some broad because you like her? Would you do that? It's exactly the same thing. I know it's a fed, but it's still a woman. You know, you're not.
I feel the same way, bro. Listen, I don't rock with that shit at all.
But I'll tell you a story. I remember this guy Tiger. I was in Joyceville, which is a high medium security pen. So it's a pen. And there was this little Cambodian dude that lived in the cell beside me. And there was this old CO. Her name was Miss Atkins. She's like one of those old, like rounder COs. Doesn't really care what's going on.
Oh, barfly.
Don't cause no problems on my range. I don't care what you do. Just don't do heroin and don't drink brew. I don't really care, right?
Those are the best, bro.
Or don't stab anybody, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, this guy, I guess, kept popping off on her. And she, during a count one day, just put him on blast. Like, put your little away, buddy. Like, I don't know what the hell. I don't want to see her. And he almost got killed for that. So it's a little different in the federal system. Now, depending on how gangster somebody is, rules are always overlooked. You know, I've seen creepy dudes get a bly because they're 240 pounds jacked, and nobody really wants to walk down that alley because, you know, they're ready for it at all times. But Canada, the thing is, it's violent, but the populations are small. So, you know, our regular medium security jails are 500 guys, 400 guys. Our maximum security is 250 to 500 guys.
So when you were in prison in Canada, through all the time that you did, what would you say is the craziest thing that you saw?